You? Okie dokie. All right. So, leadership. We talked yesterday about the types of leaders, and we talked about what makes a good leader, right? Let me go into my first slide here, and hope this works. Types of leaders. Okay. Let's think about the type of leader that are out there. Leaders by position achieved. Who can we think of as a leader by position achieved? You've achieved a position, you automatically are a leader.
Principal.
A prince, a president, a principal, right? These are all leaders that because they have a specific position, they automatically get leadership. Okay? Leader by personality or charisma. Also by position achieved, right?
Yeah.
But let's think of someone who is exclusively by charisma. Has no other power.
Like celebrities and stuff? They have influence over people?
The kid who led the kids in Lord of the Flies, I think?
Maybe.
I don't know his name.
How about Greta Thunberg?
No.
Any real power at all?
It's Thunberg or something like that.
Thunberg, whatever her name is. Does she have any real power at all? But for some people, she's providing leadership, is she not?
Yes.
For some people. How about the Dalai Lama? Any real power?
No.
Does he even have a country?
No.
No. But has power, right? Because people listen to him and his words mean something. He's charismatic. How about a leader by moral example?
Gandhi.
Gandhi. Or the Dalai Lama. Or Martin Luther King Jr. These are all leaders by moral example. How about a leader by power held? Simply by power.
Military.
Any
Head of military.
Caesar.
Military, Caesar. Oh, that might be because of position achieved. Simple power.
Putin.
You're gonna do what I tell you to do. Am I bigger than you? Okay, someone who's bigger than you, right? Someone who's bigger than you, towers over you, right? Maybe a bouncer at a bar, right, or something, right? Okay, but they're bigger, they're stronger, they're smarter, whatever else. They have more power. Okay, they have more power. Okay, intellectual leader. Who's an intellectual? Albert Einstein. We can think of lots of them, right? How about the guys from First? Right? The guys that just passed away, right? Leader because of ability to accomplish things.
Bill Gates.
George Washington.
Bill Gates, maybe. George Washington, but he also got it because of where he would, the level he achieved, right? But think about just simply ability to accomplish things. Think about in your own team. Don't we have people that move ahead just because they can get something done? Lily? Well, I mean, really, right? You lead because you can get stuff done, right? This is you on the bottom, right there. Okay? And some of you others, I mean, Ben is that way, and the rest of you have all done things too, but some of us end up leading because we can get things done, right? And so different levels of leadership come from different places. And your ability to lead might come from any one of these places. Ben's going to be a leader because position achieved. He's got that one. He's the captain. Okay, he's automatically a leader. He's stuck with it. Okay? All right. So think where you fall on that. Now, one thing leadership is, though, it's more about action and example than it is about a position or a role. You can be a leader because you have achieved a certain level, but people will not follow you unless you have leadership. Right? We saw a leader by, I mean, if we have someone who's a team captain that does absolutely nothing, are they a leader? Right? So leadership is about action and its position. Okay, so when we think about leadership, good example. It's the goose that goes out front. That's the leader. No particular thing, it's not experience, not power achieved or whatever else. It's simply action. That goose decided to go in front of everyone else and get in front of the line and say, here we go guys, we're going, and this is the direction we're going. And everybody follows them. So, it's about action. You have to take action in order to be a leader. You can't just be a leader. Now, let's think about the culture of a group. Culture in a group is defined by the group, but it's also defined by the leadership of that group. And very often, the leadership drives the culture. Think about the culture of our particular group. What is the culture of our group? Are we someone that's everyone's in there, you know, trying their best and killing each other to work hard? Or maybe not so much. What's the culture we're going to set? And it's defined by the worst behavior the leader is willing to accept. What's the worst we're willing to accept? Are we willing to accept people sitting there on their phones? Well, we have been. And what's been the result? That's the culture of our organization, right? So let's think about people. Everybody recognize this fella? Winston Churchill. What was the worst behavior he would accept? Only the finest. That's all he wanted. I want the finest. I want men and women who are willing to die for their country. Right? He expected the very best of people. And he exuded that himself. He tried very hard to be the best himself. Hear this, young men and women everywhere, and proclaim it far and wide. The earth is yours, and the fullness thereof. Be kind, but be fierce. You are needed now more than ever before. Take up the mantle for change, for this is your time. That's the level he would accept. What about this guy? What level would he accept? What culture did he put forth? What was the worst behavior he'd accept? Would he accept slavery? Yeah. He wouldn't accept that behavior. Everybody else had. But he said, we're not going to accept that. Right? He wouldn't accept people being servants to others. So he drove the organization, which happened to be the United States, to change that paradigm, right? And thousands of people died in the process, but he eventually got there. How about that guy? What's the worst level he would accept?
Being German.
Now. There's lots of people that make lots of nice sausage. Hopefully not of humans. Anyway, but yes.
But German, you want to?
But what's the worst he would? Is it okay for him for people to just slaughter people?
Yeah.
Sure. Hey, let's go for it, right? In fact, let's even plan to do it, right? So the worst he would accept is pretty darned awful, right? Okay. So let's think about our own organization. What's the worst we're willing to accept? And you as a leader, you are the leaders of this team. What is the worst you're willing to accept? Because that will define your organization. Are you willing to accept people sitting there on their phones? Then you need to stand up and change it. Okay, what's the next step up from that? Are you willing to accept people not showing up on time? Are you willing to accept people only coming in when they feel like it? Are you willing to accept people squabbling? I mean, think about all these things. What am I willing to put up with here to make sure this organization moves forward? Because that's the definition of your organization. How much you're willing to put up with. The lowest level of behavior. Above that, you're great. Now, we'll move on to the next section. How can we best improve our leadership skills as leaders?
Listen.
Shut up and listen. It's exactly right, Penny. So we can best improve our leadership skills by listening and watching what's going on. By being monitors of the process. By watching what other people are doing, by observing, okay, how many people are out, not coming in this week? How many people came in? What's the level of involvement? By talking to people, hey, why didn't you come in yesterday? Can you tell me why? Is there something going on that I should be aware of? You know, those kind of things. Actually listening to people, hearing them, and understanding what their issues are and why they're not here. Okay? Or what the problem is. Okay? Understanding and listening is one of the most important things you can do. When you talk, you are only repeating what you already know. But when you listen, you may hear something new. Okay? You may hear something new. You may hear something you didn't expect or whatever. We're sitting here trying to define the culture of this organization, aren't we? As part of this leadership. But we haven't even talked to the whole people in the leadership, in the whole crew, have we? Maybe that's something we need to do. Okay, can we just define a leadership and go forward with it, or do we need to talk to people first? All right. Moving on to the next topic. The 10 things that take absolutely no talent from you. No talent. Being on time takes no talent. Your work ethic takes no talent. Your effort takes no talent. Your body language, energy, attitude, passion, being coachable, doing extra, and being prepared, none of that takes any real talent, does it? How many of us do them all? And including me. Okay? None of us do. But those things take no talent. But lead by example requires it.
Yes.
And we talked about yesterday how important lead by example was. Right? Very important. Today, I forgot my laptop. But I was prepared with a backup. Anyway, but yes, being prepared, all those things, they take no talent, but you need to really do them. So you need to think about this as a leader, you need to up your game. You can't just be like the guys in the trenches. You got to up the game and be one better than the people in the trenches because they're looking to you as the leader. And as the leader, they expect better behavior than even they would offer. All right, let's talk about bosses versus leaders. A boss drives the employee, tells them what to do, pushes them forward, whatever. A leader coaches them. A leader helps them to understand why you're doing this and what's going on, and they listen to the problems that are going on with whatever they're doing and tries to understand those problems and helps them to alleviate those problems. Depends on authority. Boss depends on authority. But a good leader depends on the goodwill of the people that work for him. Right? They look to people that are with them because they're with them because they want to be there, not because they have to be. They inspire fear, a boss does, but a leader generates enthusiasm, much more positive, right? Says, I did this, or I'm going to do this, or whatever. The boss says, we. It's not about you. It's not about what you want, it's about what we want. They place blame for the breakdown as opposed to fixing the breakdowns. They know how it's done, but a leader shows how it's done. They don't mind teaching someone else. They don't keep knowledge to themselves like some kind of gold that they can't give away. They give away the gold, and they teach others. They take credit. Oh, they use people, rather. Use people or develop people. You want to be developing people. You want people below you to move up through the organization and be the next leaders, to replace you guys who are going to leave. This is a huge development organization we're working right now. You know, the guys that were before you, did they come back and train you how to be leaders? Did they train you how to run the team? Some of them trained you how to do the drive team, right? Okay, they did that a little bit, right? But did they really train you on how to run this organization? Are you going to train your replacements? That's a good idea, right? Develop the people under you. They don't take credit. You don't want to take credit. You want to give credit. You want to make sure everybody gets the credit that they deserve because that's what people thrive on. People thrive on people being able to say, you know what? You did a great job, Justin. I mean, you did a great job. People love it, right? You feel good when people say that. You don't command people. You ask people. You don't say go. You say let's go. All right? That's where your head has to be. With all these things, a good chart to have. I can print this off if you want it. But it's a good chart. So, in this one, I hope that it's embedded. No, it's not. Okay, that's okay. I can fix that. Because I have it. Where's my little browser thingy? There it is. Okie dokie. Why am I not able to get to that? Alright, so it's not letting me now. Let me open up another window and go back, get it again, and I will present this. This film was important, so I want to definitely get it. So, I want you to watch this piece of film. Hopefully it'll play reasonably well. It won't be terribly loud. that's okay. Where's my little mouse? Start that up again. This fellow is George Patton, head of the 3rd Army, United States Army, World War II. My mom worked for him.
This is where it pays off. The training and the discipline. No other outfit in the world. Pull out of a winter battle, move 100 miles, go into a major attack with no rest, no sleep, no hot food. God, I'm proud of these men.
What did we just see? Let's talk about what we just saw. We just saw 3 generals standing on a hill. General Patton of the 3rd Army was in the center with the stars across his helmet. What happened? Men.
He's proud of his men.
He's proud of his men. Did he say the word I one time? Oh, he said I'm proud of these men, but he used I'm, but yeah. But did he relate any credit to himself? What else did we see?
We saw him like walk down with the troops.
Yes. He became we, didn't he? It wasn't about they're going to do what I told them to do. He walked down with the troops and actually started talking with them, didn't he? What does that say about your leadership for this team? You don't have to raise your hand, let's talk. We're just talking here.
We can't act like we're above them. We have to be on the same level as them.
You bet. You bet. You definitely don't want to do that. What's going to happen if someone's above you and they act like they are? Are you going to listen to them? No, you're not going to listen to them. You're going to turn them off every time they talk, aren't you? So, how do you convince someone to work with you?
Become their friend.
Become their friend. Treat them kindly, right? Get in the trenches with them. Literally. He's in the trenches with them. He's walking through the slop with them. Okay? Getting his boots dirty. Getting his feet cold. Getting wet. Getting snowed on. He's not sitting in some bunker somewhere watching the troops go by. The other generals stood up on the hill. They didn't move. Which group do you think is going to follow him? I mean, which general do you think they're going to want to follow him first? They're going to follow Patton. And that's the kind of leader he was. Now, he also had issues, okay? But the fact was, he was a GI's general. He was the general the GIs loved. And it's because of the fact that he understood his men and women. He understood why they were there. He had a vision for where they needed to be and why they needed to be. But he also felt so strongly as a part of what they are. And he felt his duty to be their spokesman. You heard him speaking to other people about his men. God, I love these men. He's telling the other generals how proud he is of his own people. That's offering praise to others and not taking praise for yourself. He did half the things on that list I just showed you in that short film. Did he not? Oops, that was a very loud noise on the film. Think about that as you think about your leadership. Are you in the trenches? Or are you somewhere above? Great leaders inspire us. Okay? Now, I want to talk about inspiration here. I'm hoping this plays. Does it play? No, it does not. Okay, skip that. So I'll have to go to the next film. Sorry about this, because they're not on the same thing. This film is a long one. You're going to have to bear with it. It is the single best description of how to inspire a group that I've ever seen. it's a dated presentation because some of the things he talks about we're not familiar with. You're probably not familiar with the technology, and that's okay. But get the idea, get the bearing of where this guy's talking about. Okay? It's going to take a little while, so hang in. Nay. It's a TED Talk.
How do you explain when things don't go as we assume? Or better, how do you explain when others are achieving the pie of the assumptions? For example, why is Apple so innovative? Year after year after year after year, they're more innovative than all their competition. And yet they're just a computer company. They're just like everyone else. They have the same access to the same talent, the same agencies, the same consultants, the same media. Then why is it that they seem to have something different? Why is it that Martin Luther King led the civil rights movement? He wasn't the only man who suffered in a pre-civil rights America, and he certainly wasn't the only great orator of the day. Why him? And why is it that the Wright brothers were able to figure out controlled powered manned flight when there were certainly other teams who were better qualified, better funded, and they didn't achieve powered manned flight, and the Wright brothers beat them to it? There's something else at play here. About 3.5 years ago, I made a discovery. And this discovery profoundly changed my view on how I thought the world worked, and it even profoundly changed the way in which I operate in it. As it turns out, there's a pattern. As it turns out, all the great and inspiring leaders and organizations in the world, whether it's Apple or Martin Luther King or the Wright brothers, they all think, act, and communicate the exact same way, and it's the complete opposite to everyone else. All I did was codify it. And it's probably the world's simplest idea. I call it the golden circle.
For those of you who can't see.
Why, how, what? This little idea explains why some organizations and some leaders are able to inspire where others aren't. Let me define the terms really quickly. Every single person, every single organization on the planet knows what they do, 100%. Some know how they do it, whether you call it your differentiating value proposition or your proprietary process or your USP. But very, very few people or organizations know why they do what they do. And by why, I don't mean to make a profit. That's a result. It's always a result. By why, I mean what's your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief? Why does your organization exist? Why do you get out of bed in the morning? And why should anyone care?
Why do you come in here to work?
Well, as a result, the way we think, the way we act, the way we communicate is from the outside in. It's obvious. We go from the clearest thing to the fuzziest thing. But the inspired leaders and the inspired organizations, regardless of their size, regardless of their industry, all think, act, and communicate from the inside out. Let me give you an example. I use Apple because they're easy to understand and everybody gets it. If Apple were like everyone else, a marketing message from them might sound like this. We make great computers. They're beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Want to buy one? Nah. And that's how most of us communicate. That's how most marketing is done, that's how most sales is done, and that's how most of us communicate interpersonally. We say what we do, we say how we're different or how we better, and we expect some sort of behavior, a purchase, a vote, something like that. Here's our new law firm. We have the best lawyers with the biggest clients. We have, we always perform for our clients, do business with us. Here's our new car. It gets great gas mileage. It has, leather seats. Buy our car. But it's uninspiring. Here's how Apple actually communicates. Everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one? Totally different, right? You're ready to buy a computer from me. All I did was reverse the order of the information. What it proves to us is that people don't buy what you do, people buy why you do it. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. This explains why every single person in this room is perfectly comfortable buying a computer from Apple. But we're also perfectly comfortable buying an MP3 player from Apple, or a phone from Apple, or a DVR from Apple. But as I said before, Apple's just a computer company. There's nothing that distinguishes them structurally from any of their competitors. Their competitors are all equally qualified to make all of these products. In fact, they tried. A few years ago, Gateway came out with flat-screen TVs. They're eminently qualified to make flat-screen TVs. They've been making flat-screen monitors for years. Nobody bought one. And Dell came out with MP3 players and PDAs. And they make great quality products, and they can make perfectly well-designed products. And nobody bought one. In fact, talking about it now, we can't even imagine buying an MP3 player from Dell. Why would you buy an MP3 player from a computer company? But we do it every day. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. The goal is not to do business with everybody who needs what you have. The goal is to do business with people who believe what you believe. Here's the best part. None of what I'm telling you is my opinion. It's all grounded in the tenets of biology, not psychology, biology. If you look at a cross-section of the human brain, looking from the top down, what you see is the human brain is actually broken into three major components that correlate perfectly with the golden circle. Our newest brain, our Homo sapien brain, our neocortex, corresponds with the what level. The neocortex is responsible for all of our rational and analytical thought and language. The middle two sections make up our limbic brains, and our limbic brains are responsible for all of our feelings, like trust and loyalty. It's also responsible for all human behavior, all decision-making, and it has no capacity for language. In other words, when we communicate from the outside in, yes, people can understand vast amounts of complicated information like features and benefits and facts and figures. It just doesn't drive behavior. When we communicate from the inside out, we're talking directly to the part of the brain that controls behavior, and then we allow people to rationalize it with the tangible things we say and do. This is where gut decisions come from. You know, sometimes you can give somebody all the facts and your figures, and they say, I know what all the facts and details say, but it just doesn't feel right. Why would we use that verb? It doesn't feel right. Because the part of the brain that controls decision-making doesn't control language. And the best we can muster up is, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. Or sometimes you say you're leading with your heart, or you're leading with your soul. Well, I hate to break it to you, those aren't other body parts controlling your behavior. It's all happening here in your limbic brain, the part of the brain that controls decision-making and not language. But if you don't know why you do what you do, and people respond to why you do what you do, then how will you ever get people to vote for you or buy something from you, or more importantly, be loyal and want to be a part of what it is that you do? Again, the goal is not just to sell people who need what you have. The goal is to sell to people who believe what you believe. The goal is not just to hire people who need a job. It's to hire people who believe what you believe. I always say that, you know, if you hire people just because they can do a job, they'll work for your money. But if you hire people who believe what you believe, they work for you with blood and sweat and tears. And nowhere else is there a better example of this than with the Wright brothers. Most people don't know about Samuel Pierpont Langley. And back in the early 20th century, the pursuit of powered man flight was like the .com of the day. Everybody was trying it. And Samuel Pierpont Langley had what we assume to be the recipe for success. I mean, even now you ask people, why did your product or why did your company fail? And people always give you the same permutation of the same three things. Undercapitalized, the wrong people, bad market conditions. It's always the same three things. So let's explore that. Samuel Pierpont Langley was given $50,000 by the War Department to figure out this flying machine.
That was like
no
50
problem.
million back then.
He held a seat at Harvard and worked at the Smithsonian and was extremely well connected. He knew all the big minds of the day. He hired the best minds money could find, and the market conditions were fantastic. The New York Times followed him around everywhere, and everyone was rooting for Langley. And how come we've never heard of Samuel Pierpont Langley? A few hundred miles away in Dayton, Ohio, Orville and Wilbur Wright. They had none of what we consider to be the recipe for success. They had no money. They paid for their dream with the proceeds from their bicycle shop. Not a single person on the Wright brothers team had a college education, not even Orville or Wilbur. And the New York Times followed them around nowhere. The difference was, Orville and Wilbur were driven by a cause, by a purpose, by a belief. They believed that if they could figure out this flying machine, it'll change the course of the world. Samuel Pierpont Langley was different. He wanted to be rich and he wanted to be famous. He was in pursuit of the result. He was in pursuit of the riches. And lo and behold, look what happened. The people who believed in the Wright brothers' dream worked with them with blood and sweat and tears. The others just worked for the paycheck. And they tell stories of how every time the Wright brothers went out, they would have to take 5 sets of parts because that's how many times they would crash before they came in for supper. And eventually, on December 17th, 1903, the Wright brothers took flight. And no one was there to even experience it. We found out about it a few days later. And further proof that Langley was motivated by the wrong thing, the day the Wright brothers took flight, he quit. He could have said, "That's an amazing discovery, guys, and I will improve upon your technology." But he didn't. He wasn't first, he didn't get rich, he didn't get famous, so he quit. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And if you talk about what you believe, you will attract those who believe what you believe. Well, why is it important to attract those who believe what you believe? Something called the law of diffusion of innovation. And if you don't know the law, you definitely know the terminology. The first 2.5% of our population are our innovators. The next 13.5% of our population are our early adopters. The next 34% are your early majority, your late majority, and your laggards. The only reason these people buy touch-tone phones is because you can't buy rotary phones anymore. We all sit at various places at various times on the scale, but what the law of diffusion of innovation tells us is that if you want mass market success or mass market acceptance of an idea, you cannot have it until you achieve this tipping point between 15 and 18% market penetration, and then the system tips. And I love asking businesses, what's your conversion on new business? And they love to tell you, oh, it's about 10%, proudly. Well, you can trip over 10% of the customers. We all have about 10% who just get it. That's how we describe them, right? That's like that gut feeling, oh, they just get it. The problem is, how do you find the ones that just get it before you're doing business with them versus the ones who don't get it? So it's this here, this little gap, that you have to close, as Geoffrey Moore calls it, crossing the chasm. Because you see, the early majority will not try something until someone else has tried it first. And these guys, the innovators and the early adopters, they're comfortable making those gut decisions. They're more comfortable making those intuitive decisions that are driven by what they believe about the world, and not just what product is available. These are the people who stood online for 6 hours to buy an iPhone when they first came out, when you could have just walked into the store the next week and bought one off the shelf. These are the people who spent $40,000 on flat-screen TVs when they first came out, even though the technology was substandard. And by the way, they didn't do it because the technology was so great. They did it for themselves. It's because they wanted to be first. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And what you do simply proves what you believe. In fact, people will do the things that prove what they believe. The reason that person bought the iPhone in the first 6 hours, or stood in line for 6 hours, was because of what they believed about the world and how they wanted everybody to see them. They were first. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. So let me give you a famous example, a famous failure and a famous success of the law of diffusion of innovation. First, the famous failure. It's a commercial example. As we said before a second ago, the recipe for success is money and the right people and the right marketing conditions, right? You should have success then. Look at TiVo. From the time TiVo came out about 8 or 9 years ago to this current day, they are the single highest quality product on the market. Hands down, there is no dispute. They were extremely well funded. Market conditions were fantastic. I mean, we use TiVo as a verb. Do
you know what TiVo is?
No.
Today, on your Fios, if you see something on TV, you just hit the record button and it records it, right? Well, that didn't exist. When cable TV first came out, you watched whatever was on. You didn't have a way to record it. TiVo was a device that you bought that went between the cable and your TV. And when you saw something you wanted to watch, but you weren't going to be home, you scheduled your TiVo to record it. And then you'd watch it anytime you want. You could skip all the commercials and everything else. It was really neat, right? So it's something you can do today natively, but back then you had to buy a box for it. And that was TiVo, T-I-V-O. Okay? It was a big deal when it came out. Big deal. Because it solved the problem.
On my piece of junk Time Warner DVR all the time. But TiVo's current day, they are the single highest quality product on the market.
It's a great
Hands
product.
down, there is no dispute. They were extremely well funded. Market conditions were fantastic. I mean, we use TiVo as a verb. I TiVo stuff on my piece of junk Time Warner DVR all the time. But TiVo's a commercial failure. They've never made money. And when they went IPO, their stock was at about $30 or $40 and then plummeted, and it's never traded above 10. In fact, I don't think it's even traded above 6.
And they're gone
except for a couple of little spikes. Because you see, when TiVo launched their product, they told us all what they had. They said, we have a product that pauses live TV, skips commercials, rewinds live TV, and memorizes your viewing habits without you even asking. And the cynical majority said, we don't believe you. We don't need it. We don't like it. You're scaring us. What if they had said, if you're the kind of person who likes to have total control over every aspect of your life, boy, do we have a product for you. It pauses live TV, skips commercials, memorizes your viewing habits, etc., etc. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it, and what you do simply serves as the proof of what you believe. Now let me give you a successful example of the law of diffusion of innovation. In the summer of 1963, 250,000 people showed up on the Mall in Washington to hear Dr. King speak. They sent out no invitations, and there was no website to check the date. How do you do that? Well, Dr. King wasn't the only man in America who was a great orator. He wasn't the only man in America who suffered in a pre-civil rights America. In fact, some of his ideas were bad, but he had a gift. He didn't go around telling people what needed to change in America. He went around and told people what he believed. I believe, I believe, I believe, he told people. And people who believed what he believed took his cause and they made it their own, and they told people. And some of those people created structures to get the word out to even more people. And lo and behold, 250,000 people showed up on the right day, on the right time, to hear him speak. How many of them showed up for him? 0. They showed up for themselves. It's what they believed about America that got them to travel on a bus for 8 hours to stand in the sun in Washington in the middle of August. It's what they believed, and it wasn't about black versus white. 25% of the audience was white. Dr. King believed that there are 2 types of laws in this world, those that are made by a higher authority and those that are made by man. And not until all the laws that are made by man are consistent with the laws that are made by the higher authority will we live in a just world. It just so happens that the civil rights movement was the perfect thing to help him bring his cause to life. We followed not for him, but for ourselves. And by the way, he gave the I have a dream speech, not the I have a plan speech.
Right?
Listen to politicians now with their comprehensive 12-point plans. They're not inspiring anybody. Because there are leaders and there are those who lead. Leaders hold a position of power or authority, but those who lead inspire us. Whether they're individuals or organizations, we follow those who lead, not because we have to, but because we want to. We follow those who lead, not for them, but for ourselves. And it's those who start with why that have the ability to inspire those around them or find others who inspire them. Thank you very much.
Okay. So, what did we learn from that? What did we learn? For those of you who stayed awake. I know it's hard. It's dark. What did we learn?
the reason you're doing things is just as important as what you're doing.
Okay? Still important to do the what, right? But you have to follow through with the what, because if you don't follow through with the what, eventually, people will lose faith. But in order to get people to want to follow you, you have to have a why. Does first have a why?
For inspiration.
What's the why of first?
Technology.
To inspire a new generation.
To inspire a new generation. Mm-hmm. Do they have other whys?
I have the core values.
Core values. Right? Cooperation.
Creation.
So let's think about it. They have whys. Do a lot of people get involved?
Yes.
Do they get involved for, what's his name, Woody?
Hmm?
Flowers? Do they get involved because of Woody Flowers?
Partially.
Did they? Did they get involved because of, the other guy's name?
Dean Kamen.
Dean Kamen? Did they get involved because of Dean Kamen?
No.
Do they even know who he is before they get involved?
No.
Ah, so it isn't about the leader. Why are they getting involved? Why do people get involved in robotics? Is it about themselves?
Because I like robots.
Hmm?
People like robots. They're drawn to it.
Why do you get involved?
I just kind of like the idea of it. More for myself than anything.
What is it you're getting out of it, Justin?
Well, like now that I'm like part of it, like why I stayed involved.
No, I want to know why you started.
Why I started? I started because I thought robotics was cool. It's as simple as that.
But what's your why?
That's my why. I liked it.
You want to learn, right?
Yes.
Okay. Why?
Why did I join robotics?
Hmm? Why are you here?
So I can have experience with robots.
Why?
So I can have a good education.
So you're here for the education.
Mm-hmm.
Admirable. Why, Michael?
I had knowledge of friends.
You did it because you want to be with your friends. Cool.
I thought I was going to be a mechanical engineer, so I thought this would be a good in.
So you're doing it because you want to learn, like,
Yeah, basically.
okay? Is that the reason you're still here?
No.
Why?
Friends now,
Friends.
and the environment.
Okay. Lily, why are you here?
Initially, it was like to meet new people and learn new skills, but now it's like still learning new things, but also teaching people.
Okay. It's more of a what. Let's get down to the core why. What does it fill? What does it fill inside here for you? What? What are you doing, guys? Huh?
Just listening.
Student man.
What's it fill inside of you? What hole does it fill? Friendship or? Okay, all right. Move on.
I
Colin.
originally joined to like find friends, really.
Friends. So did anybody here mention winning? Do you care if you win?
Yes.
Ah, you care if you win.
But it's not why we do
So if you're
it.
losing all the time, it wouldn't be as much fun.
I mean, it's not why we do it, but it's nice to win.
It's nice to win.
It's more of a what we do.
It's what you do.
Winning is a result.
Winning's a result. It's the what, right? We win. We win a lot of championships. And we win a lot of championships because we build great robots. Come join my team. Got it? Is the bell just going off in your head right now? Is that bell just going off in your head? Light bulbs going on? Light bulb going on for you, sir? I'm sorry, I don't remember your name.
Jacob.
Jacob. Is light bulb going on for you, Jacob? I'm terrible with names. You guys know that already.
Yeah.
Jacob. Well, I got all the rest of you. Jacob. Tell me, does the light bulb go on? Did you see that in that film?
I'm not sure. what-
Explain it to him.
But
He just
Man.
explained it using the what and the how instead of the why. Is
The what is, we win big. We're a winning team. And we win big because our people know how to build robots. And we got a well-organized team. Come build robots with us. None of you are here for that reason.
Robotics did competitions.
What's that, Manny?
I didn't even know robotics did competitions until.
Exactly, right? Exactly.
Yeah, really weird people.
So you're here because you're getting something else out of it. And most of you mentioned friendships. Some of you mentioned learning, right? Some of you mentioned, I guess, what else was there I missed? Learning and friendships
More than learning and friendship.
and pretty much that's it, right?
Mhm.
Learning and friendships. Did that hit yours too?
yeah, I said like learning and friendships and helping other people.
And helping other people, which is even better, right? Okay, cool. The ability to help other people and help other people learn, I think is what you said, right? Yeah. So not only learning, but being able to teach others and learning how to do that, which is a really good skill. Okay, so you're here for skills and friendships. Okay. So now, how are you going to take what's in your head and this whole discussion, and how are you going to inspire this group of people who work for you on the team, because you are the leaders, so technically they work for you, right? Although you're not going to treat them that way. How are you going to inspire them to want to put that phone down? To want to not talk and just gab when things are going on? When you want people to show up and do the swerve drive to actually show up? How are you going to inspire that? What's the why that you're going to give them? Because we just saw that the best companies in the world, and the best organizations in the world, and the best leaders in the world, all have a very clear why. I have a dream that one day the sons of slaves and the sons of slave owners will sit around a table together and have dinner. I have a dream. Isn't that what he said, basically? Paraphrasing. Okay. Did he say, I have a plan? Did he come out with a list of things, the demands that need to be changed? Did he have a Declaration of Independence with all those lists of stuff and grievances, right? He didn't do that, right?
95 thesis.
Yeah. Instead, he just came out and said, I have a dream, and here it is, folks. And other people that had that dream showed up because they had a similar dream. And it wasn't about Martin Luther King. It was about the dream. And similar dreams, whether it's FDR giving his speech about the only thing we have to fear is fear itself, right? And his dream of having freedom for everyone and not having tyranny, which is what the Hitler represented, right? People believed in freedom. People believed in the American way. And so they fought and died during World War II. They believed in the American way. You can open that door about it. I know you're trying to be very quiet. I know you're trying to be very quiet. Did you bring it up for everyone?
No. Well,
Do you feel terribly guilty now?
Not really, I mean, we
We'll just watch you eat the cookie then.
I
Yeah.
have fruit snacks we can share.
Oh boy, that looks good.
Yeah.
No share.
Is it tasty? Really? Describe it.
Capitalism.
That's okay, I'll wait till you finish chewing, but you can tell us how wonderful it is. We can sort of experience it, you know.
If you had to describe the cookie as a color, what color would you say
Intellecto.
it tastes like?
All right. So anyway, going back to it. How are you going to inspire these people, guys? You got to figure this out, because without it, you're going to have a team that sucks. For the people that remember Griffin, did he inspire the team? He drove the team, didn't he? Did it work? Technically, it was somewhat successful, because we did come out with decent robots. Did we win all the time? Not really. We went pretty good. I mean, we did okay. But I don't think we killed it. Having said that, end result, we got a robot, right? Is that the end result? What was the result people wanted?
Like, a connection.
A connection, friendships. bonding, feeling like a team. They wanted that yes moment, didn't they? You got to get them to the yes moment. What are your thoughts on, let's think about now what our why is going to be for these people and how we're going to communicate it.
This may be like a what, but like,
And how are we going to change the team to achieve that why?
this may be like a what, but like, so, I remember freshman year when, or maybe it was, no, it was freshman year, when I was like, remember the gear handler for like, Steamworks, yeah. I was working on that, and like what got me really happy was like being involved. Like it felt like we were mostly like left up to our own devices, so like our entire group worked on it, and so when it worked, it felt like wow, I helped with this. Like, and that.
So for you, the why was contributing and feeling like a part of a winning team.
Just feeling like a part of the team.
Part of a team.
Yeah.
Not necessarily winning, but just feeling like a part of a team.
Yeah.
Feeling like what you did was recognized personally, or feeling that you wanted to be a part of a group that accomplished something?
Like a mix of both. Like, I didn't like want recognition. Like when I saw it working, I was like, wow. I didn't wait for somebody to be like, wow, that's good. I was like, wow, that's good myself. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I do know what you mean.
Yeah.
So being part of the team that did something, achieved something, was as good as, like, let's say had you been playing football and you hadn't necessarily made the winning touchdown, but you were on the team and you won the championship. There was that feeling.
I guess. Yeah.
Sort of like that? Okay. Good. All right. So how do we make people want to feel that?
I primarily.
This is a hard question.
Start with the why. Like start.
Right. You start with the why. But what is your why? You haven't defined it yet. What is your why as a team? This is something you need to figure out. Because that why is how you're going to plan your whole team around it. Whether you spend the team doing people-oriented things, or whether you spend the team doing, just pure work. How do we do this? How do we make it more fun to go over to the lab over there and do work? And want to be there and spend till 11 o'clock at night working in there, when we know we have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock in the morning to go to school the next day? How are you going to inspire people to want to do that? What culture are you going to grow to do that? Go ahead. Go.
Building like a culture that's like like a family kind of, like everyone is involved, everyone is together.
Right.
Building that base friendship.
Where does that come from?
Trust.
Yeah, but who?
Leaders.
Mm-hmm. Comes from leaders, doesn't it? How do you have to behave in order to have that happen? Think about the 12 skills of leadership.
You have to set a good example, like lead by example.
All those 12 skills of leadership, right? Communication, treating them as, doing counseling and coaching, right? All that stuff, right, that's in there. Listening, right? Helping, jumping into the trenches and being in there with them. All that stuff. If you don't show up on time, are they going to show up on time?
No.
No, because that was the lowest common denominator you were willing to accept, isn't it? Being not on time was what you were willing to accept because you'll do it yourself. I'm not blaming you personally, I'm just saying. Right? So, there you go. Okay? Remember about the lowest level you're being able to accept. That goes into this whole thing too. That goes into your whole why thing, but how we get to the why. All right? But the why we have to communicate, I want to come from you, not from me. I can't coach you. I can't tell you what that why is. You have to tell me. Because you're the students. You're the ones with the perspective on it. It's not me. Why are we in robotics? And how do we communicate that? It's a difficult question. Talk. Okay, gather together and talk. I'm out of the loop. Gather together and talk. Talk about what your why is going to be.
How do you create a why? How do you throw it into a sentence?
Well, it's just why is everyone here? What's the reason for it?
Enthusiasm.
I want a general consensus that a lot of us join.
Talk loud enough so they can all hear you. And I'm going to put this in here because Ben needs to hear this too.
All right.
Hi, Ben.
Hi, Ben.
We love you.
Hello, Benjamin.
He's ill today. Dare you not. So talk loud enough you can hear it, but discuss.
All right. So, I feel like we can all come to a general consensus that, like, a lot of us joined for friendships mostly. Like, are there any objections?
Seems to be a mix of friendship and learning.
Yeah.
And if they entered
Yeah.
for knowledge, they ended up as a
Someone take notes, please.
side.
Or communications is documenting it. So friendship, you start? Go ahead. Keep going.
People that join for knowledge end up making friends with
Just leave it
people.
on the table, it's fine. It'll pick up a lot.
Yeah.
Because Jacob joined for knowledge, but then he made a lot of friends, huh?
We love you. Or what's your name?
I feel like it's like you joined to be a part, like belong to a group and
Yeah.
feel accomplished that you guys like did something. You know?
Mm-hmm. That's a good
I
one.
think
So how are you going to start off your new year? If this is what your why is?
What do you mean?
we're gonna welcome in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Make sure everyone feels like they belong here and make sure they all have something to do and I
That's
can't
important.
talk and write. at the
That's
same-
important.
I
Make
I
sure
already
everyone
forgot
feels
what I
like they
said.
belong.
Yeah, wait, do you want me to?
I already forgot what I said.
Let's do dual note taking, so
Yeah.
feel like some people have something to do.
Yeah. Feeling
Make
like
them feel belong.
Feeling like they're part of the group.
Accomplished.
Okay, making people feel like they're part of the group.
yeah,
That's a really, really important thing.
yeah.
Does everyone know everyone?
Kind of.
I think they do.
Do they?
I know
Sure I
like
do.
60%.
Yeah, I know like some of the people, but the younger people, I don't know them.
I know everyone.
80%. There's
I
like
think I know names.
A lot of
Kids are there,
yeah.
is it 20?
Yeah, I think.
What makes you feel like part of a
Yes.
group?
I know Jay. Do you know Jay?
I
Like
do know Jay. Yeah, tall Jay.
being
Yeah,
like
talking.
I feel like
Jay.
in the lab you feel
Is that the one
like
with
you're part of the
t-shirt
group
can?
when you're like offered something to do.
Okay.
Who has the t-shirt?
Yeah.
Getting something to do,
Where you
and that's a
have
really
t-shirt
important
cannon?
thing,
Yeah.
okay?
Homecoming?
Yeah.
Not just like
Yeah.
sitting around.
Arena.
But initially, when we come into a
I'll do
group
the
and we're
guy.
new, we're in that phase, remember we talked about Tuckman's phases? We're in that first phase, which is called what?
Or
I don't.
Forming.
Forming.
Okay, we're in that forming phase.
Yeah.
What makes us feel comfortable enough to start opening up?
time.
We can't afford that, we gotta get moved quickly. What else?
We even have some friends on the team already. You know, even though we all haven't met everyone, you'll meet them. We have a good group of kids.
Yes, there's cliques.
Yeah.
Does that help?
No.
No, that hurts, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Cliques hurts, right? Cliques definitely hurts.
I mean, we'll still have to meet them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would name tags help?
No.
Just sort of make
Maybe.
it feel
How
like.
about a name tag? So have your
I
name
mean-
on it that says, has a little robotics logo on there and stuff, would that help?
It
Or
might-
not? Or would that do it
No, I
nothing?
was thinking
I
of.
feel like
Kinda
for
odd.
the first
Yeah,
first
like-
little bit
For like the first
For like
weekend
yeah.
or so, or like the first week.
until
Yeah.
everyone learns
At first, I
each
think
other.
meant like a. What would you like a
Like a
lane?
lane.
But that'd be
Or
just
shirts with your
collab.
names on them, on the back.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
team shirts with your
No.
names
Oh,
on
I would love
Oh,
team shirts with my name on the
We
back.
broached that topic before, and that's not a very popular.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Why
don't
is it
think-
not popular?
Like
It
the
just
Nemi
gets-
shirts?
Because it's expensive?
Get some nice
It's just like
think so.
expensive and like I guess
We got
Tell me why it's not popular.
We have some nice people who do not like that. I don't know why. I mean, like, I don't mind it, but who here doesn't want their name flashed on the back?
I would love my name on the back of a shirt.
You're not cool with that, Michael?
not really.
That's okay,
I
why
feel
not?
like
Mrs. G's putting my name.
I'd rather have it like.
We don't have capes.
I don't know. I feel very uncomfortable and stuff like
Do you know Penn
that.
State University, the football team, has never had a name on the back of a jersey?
Huh.
Really?
Doesn't with Notre Dame.
Why not?
Because they're a team.
Because it's about the team. So there's different perspectives in looking at this. You know, should we have names, should we not have names? And I can understand both perspectives.
Yeah.
And it seems to work for Penn State. They do pretty well. They all feel very team-like. Okay, so how do we generate that spirit of camaraderie, of esprit de corps, as they say. Have you ever know what esprit de corps is? Okay, it means feeling the joy of being a part of a group, feeling like a real team. How do we generate that? Because that's one of the things that's important. You guys wanted that feeling of being a team. How do we make that happen?
Tomorrow night, like the Christmas party is like one of like the first big social
Yeah.
event of the year. So
Sure
like,
it is.
I think like that, like the group like activities help a lot because you're like forming
do.
new memories with these people.
yeah.
And it's not necessarily about robotics.
Yeah, it's something like fun, like the
Something
Poly
simple,
app.
Ooh, does anyone have a karaoke machine?
A karaoke machine.
Why
I
not?
can get one if we don't have one.
Maybe they'll make
Wait,
it
you gotta
seem
ask
cool.
us what
This isn't about planning the party.
Okay,
We'll do that
sorry,
off,
that's
we'll do that offset.
tangent.
I only have
But
12 minutes
speaking of
left
it-
with you, because I must leave at 4:30.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So,
Well, this was ending at 5, yeah.
That's like.
Oh.
that's
well,
some-
Oh, that's,
we talked about it yesterday, we talked about 4:30 today.
oh, yeah, that's right.
Tomorrow.
Okay.
I remember now, I'm
Okay.
stupid.
It was very clear. All right, so,
Can we look?
move on, let's bring it back together.
Okay, so
You have some ideas, Michael, you're talking about?
No, we were just saying like one event was like the video game tournament. Even though isn't that like after build season?
Yeah,
This
the
one-
game thing, and the game thing is somewhat well attended, but not.
Yeah.
It was mostly just
And-
us.
And Manuel was saying how it's just gonna be like.
do it.
It was
Mainly because you don't have a
You
why.
got asked about it.
What?
You got asked about it.
By who?
Riley Hazel asked about it,
Oh,
and
yeah.
Steve
Okay,
O'Connor
guys,
asked
can we
about it.
take that outside?
Okay, yes,
Apologies.
Because that's not germane,
off topic, not
Off topic.
this part,
Let's bring it
not
back
the point
in
of this
again.
meeting.
okay? Bring it back in again. The why of why that event doesn't work is because there's no why, it's just come play, but there's no why. You gotta think about that one too, but anyway, that's a whole different thing. You wanna be able to bring people together. This party coming up is like big, because this is the one time when you can do that before people start having to work together.
Yeah.
You can break that ice. How are you gonna break that ice?
Icebreakers.
We all get in a
Yeah,
circle
yeah.
with that
Those
soccer
don't
ball.
work.
It would be
Say
the
kumbaya.
perfect
Yeah.
Yes.
opportunity.
Ice.
Well, they're like.
I don't.
All right,
Exactly.
I suggest you come out of this meeting and form a little thing and try to figure out how you're gonna generate that why.
Icebreakers don't
Just meet
work.
people.
I think like they feel.
Nobody
like,
likes icebreakers.
Yeah, they make it like really
Icebreakers, I
uncomfortable
like
for the
icebreakers.
people.
The
I
best
make it
Not
seem like.
fun icebreaker.
It'll make it
Best
seem like
thing to
really
do is
mediocre. I
have
feel like.
leaders slyly go in. It's like, hey, so
What's your name, kid?
yeah,
Wanna buy some drugs?
no,
I mean, shouldn't a leader walk up to that youngest person
Yeah.
that just
Yeah.
joined
Yeah.
and say, hey, you having fun?
I did that to Rohan.
Bring a hammer or something.
Shouldn't that
You'll
be
get
your job
adopted,
as leaders?
I
Oh,
adopted
he's
him.
all.
Okay, do you do that,
Yeah.
Jacob?
It's okay.
But they came here because they wanted friendships.
They want you.
Sucks. And they
Well,
put
you're
you
not
for-
giving it to them.
Yep.
So they're not gonna show up.
Welcome,
See
Jacob.
what I mean? So, it isn't about winning. It's not about building the best robot. It's about friendships and the camaraderie and getting together. And in the process of that, we also happen to build really good robots. Right? Because we all get along really well, and because we have this esprit de corps, we're gonna build a great robot. You see what I mean? It's going the other way around. The what is last. So now, you've gotta do that why, and you've gotta communicate that during the Christmas party. Why are we here? We're here because we want to be a team. We want to feel belonging. We want to feel like a part of a team. We want to feel like I have my friends here. Okay? And the second one was, we're here because we're gonna learn. Because a lot of you shared that one, right? So those are your two whys, it sounds like to me, coming out of this. You need to think about how you're gonna communicate that at the Christmas party, because most people will be there then. You're gonna communicate it not only through words, but actions, because leaders lead by action, not by words and not by power. You lead by actions. So, what actions will you take? Jacob, are you gonna walk up to the youngest guy, pat him on the shoulder and say, hey, nice to have you here. What's your name?
Sure.
You bet. And how's that kid gonna feel when he got recognized by one of the older kids?
Amazing.
Inspired.
Makes him feel.
How's he gonna feel?
It makes him feel a bit of a connection.
I went
Yeah.
I want to make it grow.
Yeah, and then when you ask him next time, hey, look, I need you guys to come in Thursday night because we got a lot of work to do. You think he's gonna come?
Yes, sir.
You see how the why gets you there? The why gets you to the actions, and the actions get you to the what.
I drove Rohan home.
Hmm?
I drove Rohan home, so I think we have a good bond.
I love Rohan.
All right, so we have about 6 minutes left.
I think I'm joking.
No, I know you did. I was
We've
there.
defined our whys.
There.
I suggest you clarify them with each other if necessary, or talk to Ben and talk to other leaders, because we're a very small group of leaders here, and there's apparently more leaders than are here.
I don't think there is 26.
Ben and Tyler.
Tyler says he always has work. So.
And who else?
Bren.
Is Ben?
She's the only other.
She's 17.
Yeah, she's still on the team.
She's the only other junior that's not here.
Okay.
So it's just us.
Okay, well, you need to somehow get a group together.
Yeah.
Put me on the group too, or at least advertise to me so I can get a part of it, if you don't mind. I'd like to just have an ear to the ground. I probably won't participate much, but if you're gonna do a group in Skype, or not Skype, is it Skype? No, Slack.
Google
If
Hangout.
you're gonna do a Slack
He's gonna
group,
make a Discord group.
just attach me to the Slack group so that I can kind of keep my ear to the ground.
Yeah.
What are you
And
gonna call it?
Ghostbusters.
I didn't hear you. What are you
What?
gonna call the group?
Oh.
Really?
What did you come up with at the end of the day
Of
yesterday?
the,
Management
the
something?
management group or something like that.
management team or whatever.
Management team.
The
The
team
elite
management
team.
Is that what you want?
So confused.
I like the
Like,
fact
what
that
was
his
what
team
are
went
we
twice.
called? Like as a group.
The round
You're
table.
the, yeah, like.
That's
The
right.
round table.
The rounders.
Is that agreed?
The
Round
round table's
table.
a silly place.
No, it's not.
That's
We're
Hamlet.
at a
Hamlet's
square,
silly
we're
place.
at a square table.
It's
That's
round.
the point.
Well, you see there's a circle now.
Round as I can make it.
This is
Yeah.
round.
Actually, the
These
tables.
are rounded.
Yeah, they are
We
round.
have a
Okay,
round
fine.
Round
here.
table.
This is a round table.
Because we're all rounded. There you go.
We're well rounded.
All right, is that what you want, round table?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Round
why
table,
not?
fine.
Like that.
So I guess
That's what you're.
you're all making the group right now, Tom, right?
Yeah, are we going to restrict it, make it private?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
We're making the meetings?
That's the student's choice. What do you guys think?
So.
Yeah.
Initially, I think maybe.
Yeah.
Just in case you ever have to talk about, like.
You guys can
an
reevaluate it
issue.
sometime. It can be changed later on, right?
I
Yeah,
think like
of course.
our like in-person
Tom?
meetings, we're gonna.
It can be changed, it can be opened up later on if they want to.
Yeah, either out or I just,
Keeps them confidential.
Where are we?
I'm so confused. Are you talking about meetings? Like private meetings?
No,
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 we're just talking about the chat.
like the chat.
Oh.
They're gonna have to
Yeah,
let
have a
So
private,
restrict it
have
for
a
now,
private.
put me on it, put Mr. G on
That's
it,
always the
so we can keep
weirdest.
our ear to the ground. And then the rest of you guys just do your thing in there. Okay, communicate that way with each other. In there, you can discuss what you're gonna do for the party or whatever you wanna do, I don't care. But I suggest you start leading. And leading means involving if you're gonna lead with that vision that you've given me, that vision you've given me, the why, is A, we're here because we're here for each other, and B, we're here to learn. If that's your vision, that's cool. Make sure you act your vision at every time you are involved with the team. Every time you see an Apple product, it's different. When you opened up your Apple iPod and you unpacked it, or your iPhone, was it packaged like any other product you bought before?
Not really.
It was different, wasn't it? It had this little thing when you lifted it up, it actually rose up out of the box, right, and all this other stuff. There was all kinds of crazy stuff, right? There was this beautiful little plastic thing that held like a label on the thing, you just slid it off the little power thing. And all this. Think about all that stuff that they did, right? It's all different. They're coming to you saying, we're not the same company. You're buying us because we're different. We don't want you to be like everyone else.
But everyone has that.
You buy an Apple product because you're different.
Everyone has
It doesn't matter that 99% of the people that bought a phone bought an Apple, so you're not really different at all.
Exactly.
There's nothing special about Apple
But you
products.
felt different
It's
because
just
when
the
you opened it up, it was different.
As a company, like,
Okay.
I'm not like
They
other
were cool
groups.
before, now they're just the same
So
thing.
you, and every time Apple interacts with you, they interact in a way that says, we're different. You, as a management team, every time you interact with a team, have to go back to your vision now and say, we're here because we're a team, and everybody wants to be a team, everybody wants to be a part of this team, and we're here because we want to learn. And everything you do needs to go back to that every time, whether you're interacting with a single person or whether you're interacting with the whole group. How you communicate, the way you communicate, it all has to be about being a team, and it all has to be about having fun together, right? Because I think that was sort of where it came out, right? Sort of like having a good time together. And it has to be about learning. Unless you change your vision. Okay? Do you think that will be helpful to the team?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you think that will bring us together this year and make us all want to work harder?
Probably.
Yeah, if you're really tight with everyone and everyone gets really tight, well, I think so. Everybody's going to want to show up just because they feel bad if they don't show up,
They miss us.
right? They'll miss you, literally,
Factual.
okay? So that's cool, and I think we can get there with that vision. Mr. G, do you think we can get there with that vision?
Yes,
Good.
I want
Nice
to say
vision.
more, but you won't let me.
You may speak now.
You have.
No, that's fine.
Tapes.
Question for you, do we put Tyler and?
Yes.
Well, they're not showing any interest, Tyler and,
Tyler has work
Ren.
and Ben got sick.
I know Ben, he's on,
Yeah.
because he was here yesterday, and Ren.
Doesn't Ren like go to leave? Like,
Ren clearly is there for friendships, I think, isn't she?
Yeah, I think
guess.
so.
I would say
We'd have to
definitely
ask
include
him.
Tyler though, even though he's not here today, if he could have made it, I'm pretty sure he would have.
He's trying to.
Okay.
Why did he not make it? Do we
No, I,
know?
no, I talked to
His
him.
work, oh, well,
I talked to him, he said he
He has-
did not,
he
he
spends
was
a lot
not
of
gonna
time
show
with
up,
okay, so
even
that
if he
we
didn't
know.
have work.
Even though he would still like to probably be.
So it's not
or
about
something
disinterest,
going forward.
it's
We used
more
to be on the same page.
inability. Okay. You'll have to ask them, by the way, what their vision statements are, so we have a clear vision
I'll
from
put Ben
them.
on there.
Alright.
Because if they don't believe in your vision, guess what? They're not gonna support it, okay? People that believe what you believe will buy from you, okay? People that believe what you believe will work for no money. People that believe what you believe won't be looking for compensation, they'll be just believing in what you do. So if they believe that you're here because you want to feel like a team and you want everyone that's standing here in this room and everyone that's outside this room that belongs to this team has to feel the same level of commitment, the same level of other people being committed to them. Because remember, it's about them, it's not about the team, right? Everybody is here for their own reason. If you want them to be fully committed to being here, you need to be fully committed to every one of those people.
Do we bring Stevie Meyer in?
No.
Senior.
No.
I have to leave in about 30
This
seconds.
is like his first year on the team.
Yeah.
So,
That doesn't mean anything.
yeah.
No, I guess not.
If you want.
I mean,
Do you want
I still-
him to participate in this?
he could be one of the people like invitationals.
I can't hear you.
He can be like one of the invitationals.
What?
Like how we talked about
I feel
yesterday, like the
like
invitationals, like
But like,
we-
I mean, Stevie's never a bad fish in anything.